And we're live. I'm here with PK Zadeh, who made his brave debut on Saturday night and was victorious. It was a really dominant display against a really tough opponent. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, it was very tough. Made me earn the victory every single step of the way. It was a good
Yeah,
fight. Enjoy it.
100%. It felt like one of those performances where you had to be concentrating for the entire fight.
Yeah, he was easily the best athlete I fought in terms of strength, cardio, explosiveness, and every time I would clinch up with him, I could feel his strength. Even just like the little shots he would hit me with to the body and to the like uh like the face, like the non-dangerous spots, he wouldn't get to the chin, but even just like on the nose and stuff, I could feel his power. So I very good opponent, man. Very, very good. Good learning experience, good fight to grow from, good platform. I'm happy with it overall. Lot to work with for the next fight as well, to build with.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you in our last interview, because I saw on the poster it was at catch weight, and I forgot to ask you what weight it was at, but it was at 68 kilos, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
68
usually you
kilograms.
fight at 66.
Yeah, I barely can't wait for it. I asked for 66, but I think just due to the situation, they just said, "Hey, he's been used to fighting at 70, so can we just do it at 68?" And needed the fight, so I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it." But,
He looked a lot bigger than you in the cage, though.
He felt it. He definitely felt it. But it's a game of skill. I just knew that over 15 minutes, even though he had the strength advantage, if I could just keep him working the whole time, I could eventually just get those little half a steps past him that'll eventually add up.
Yeah.
But he definitely made me work for it every time.
And that's exactly how it looked, actually. It looked like you were kind of one step ahead of him every step of the way. And as he was escaping from one position, you'd already thought ahead to the next position and you were transitioning to that. But yeah, you're right. It must be good to test yourself against a very tough opponent, though.
Yeah. Tough opponent, good platform. That's what it's about. And again, in his country, in his city, during these like the whole COVID situation, everything like that. It's cool. It was actually a fight that I really feel like I'd say top 2 hardest fights of my career probably. It was a challenge, but I'm not in this to fool anybody. If I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this properly. So I'm gonna have to go in there and face these challenges, be sore as hell for a few days after, etc. But I know in the long run it'll serve me well, so it's not really an issue.
And another thing that I saw you mention somewhere, and it's not the first time I've seen it, not all of the fights get logged on Tapology for some of the Swedish opponents. So did he have a fair amount more experience from what you'd seen?
Yeah, because if you go on his Tapology, it looks like he's an 0-3 can. And you watch the fight. That is not an 0-3 can. That is an experienced, savvy, strong fighter that made me work for it every step of the way. So I believe the Swedish do things very differently. They do it really well. You have to get like a professional license, stuff like that. So I think his overall fight experience was over 10 fights, winning record. So and again, with Swedish competition, I don't even think there's like things like the national trials, etc., where you only find out who you're fighting on the day. So that every time you're in there, in order to get your professional license as a Swede, you're going to be facing somebody savvy, skilled. You've gone through the ringer. It's not like you've just been fighting on your gym home show twice or 3 times. You got to go through it. So
that's really good insight into what they, that process over there. What was it like to be on the Brave show? The production looks awesome, and also we weren't sure whether you were going to be on the early prelims, but you were on the main card, so we were all able to watch on Brave TV, which was amazing.
It was unique. It was my first opportunity to actually to actually experience what a big show entails. And It was cool. It was unique. Photo shoots, media days, if you want to call it that. What else was there? There was like a public weigh-in at like a rooftop bar, which was pretty cool. And the venue itself was in a hotel, but it was in like, so like it was like a 5-star hotel. There was like some really cool stuff going on at the top, and then they had reserved the events lobby and room and the whole downstairs floor pretty much for the event. So being around that, and I intentionally chose not to really take a note of it. I just kept telling myself it's just another Saturday on the mats. But then when I was able to, there was little things like having to do the uniform and all that. But then when I was actually able to go home that day and take stock of everything, and I actually watched the event back, and then they were doing like stat breakdowns for me and stuff like that. It was. I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. I was thinking to myself after the fight, like, this is something that I think I really want to do.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to experience that. So I've just got to work even harder, and I've got to get even smarter, and I've got to get as savvy and ruthless as I can in there in order to get the job done. So it was exciting. It was a great feeling.
I love it. I love it that it's given you that kind of taste of the big show. So now you want to work even harder to achieve your dreams. A question's coming from Glenn saying, as a promotion, how does Brave fare compared to other promotions you fought on, and how big do you expect them to get?
Other promotions I fought on some good promotions, but if we're being completely honest, I fought on predominantly local level shows.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just showing up to a weigh-in at a leisure center, fighting in a leisure center, and then seeing the fight on YouTube a few days later. Brave were good, took care of me. It was what it was, like, I'm somebody that doesn't really try to focus too much on the show and everything around it, because if you do that, it's going to paralyze you.
You said that before, yeah.
It's going to paralyze you. And I noticed fighters on the card that I had spoken to after their fight kind of had regretted taking it all in, whereas I'm fixed on the cage, I'm fixed on the motions. It's a warm-up area backstage, it's a walk to the cage. It was really cool at the end of the fight to have the Brave gloves on, and because it's kind of like an unwritten rule of passage within gyms. So sometimes when I cross-train at other gyms, for example, fighters will usually wear the gloves of the promotion that they fight for. So even though I'm not a contracted Brave fighter, Cage Warrior guys wear the famous yellow gloves. UFC guys are wearing guys with UFC gloves. Bellator guys wear either the red or the blue gloves. So I think because I'm one of very few UK fighters that has fought on Brave, being able to bring the Brave mats to the gloves now is going to be a pretty cool experience. But
very cool.
What was the second part of Glenn's question? Sorry.
Let me get it back up. How big do you expect Brave to get as a promotion?
They're gonna get big. They do a lot of events in a lot of different countries. They're going to be a fairly consistent promotion from what I've seen. They're going to get rather big, I feel.
Going back to what you said actually about, trying not to take it all in at the time because you don't want to be daunted by it and just to think about it afterwards. I think because they have some people on the card, like they even had people making their pro debuts.
Yep.
I feel like it must be and it seemed like it was for some of them. They were a bit overawed by the occasion. So I really get what you're saying there, but it must be very difficult if you are that way inclined to not kind of be overawed by the situation. I could tell by how kind of composed you were when I spoke to you last time that it wasn't going to affect you.
Yeah, and I'm not going to act like I'm superhuman. I also had a little bit of an advantage because my opponent was from Stockholm, popular in Stockholm. There was no crowd. So it was just an empty room with me and him in it. It was very... My main cornerman, my best friend Taylor Dunjo, likened it to something out of a computer game like Mortal Kombat, where it's just all Tekken, where you're just yourself and your opponent in the cage. But it's cool. It was the fact that there was an emptiness to the arena really added to the reality of it all, you know?
Yeah.
And it was quite primitive, but it was really fun at the same time, you know? I had a lot of fun in that, from that experience, you know?
I'm sure it looks like a real spectacle on the on Brave TV, and I hope that they continue to show them on there for free, because it's really good to have access to that, and I'm really enjoying all of the ones that they've put on so far. Just a comment from Glenn, going back to your earlier point that the Swedish government actually fund the amateur IMAFs. I would love that to happen here. I'd love it to be more accessible to people. And Phil Campbell's got a comment just saying that it was an awesome performance from you.
It was an awesome performance from Phil as well on commentary, man. Like a lot of my friends that watched the fight back actually complimented the sports journalism taking place there. So again, we both did our jobs well. So it was good to see.
You mentioned that you're not contracted to Brave, so that was a one-off fight. But do you think that you'll get to fight for them again, given you put on such a good performance?
I'm not really banking on anything right now. We're living in such uncertain times. I'm just honestly focused on the improvements and the training. I think that as happy I was with my performance, I think there were opportunities in that fight where I could have, if I would have just done one technique a little bit sharper, moved my hips a little bit. Like there was a back take in the first round. He went for a punch. I took my elbow through and across, and I was going to like a BJ Penn style back take, and I didn't stay on the back. I didn't go to his forearm to control it, then choke him. Something like that would have been a viral finish.
Yeah.
That would have been money in my account. Little things like that. So for me to focus on the hypothetical of whether a promotion is going to sign me or not, I'm not really focused on that, because there's been examples of fighters who have fought on promotions that are like not notable whatsoever, but because of the performances that they were able to put on, it translated to money in their account, etc., like that. So I'm going forward. I'm not burning any bridges with any promotions, except Shock and Awe. But
what happened there?
It's a long story. I'm not even going to get started. But I've eclipsed that anyway. With that, I'm not burning any bridges with any promotions. I'm open to fighting wherever. I'm more focused on skill acquisition, improving my game, improving my understanding in there. Just like you spoke about last time, it can be very different in the training room to on the mats.
Yeah.
Especially in the cage. And I'm enjoying the experiences as well. Like weirdly enough, just from coming to Stockholm, getting to compete there, I've probably, I don't want to go into too much detail about it yet until everything's finalized. I've pretty much met a new mixed martial arts coach that I'm going to go with for quite a fair bit of my career, I think. So
wow.
Yeah. So I'm not going to really talk about it just yet, because I still need to sort the logistics out of it and how I'm going to relocate to Stockholm at times, etc., like that. But it's,
I feel like we're getting some breaking news here.
I mean, it's not I don't think I'm important enough for it to be breaking news, but I'm just talking about how like one little experience can kind of lead to a whole bunch of things. So
wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So you're really thinking you're just gonna find a way to up sticks and move to Stockholm?
Not permanently, because I have a really good coach in here, and I think that the UK is fantastic. But I just had a few interactions with one individual in particular, and it left a resounding effect on not only me, but I mentioned him before, my best friend, my training partner, my main corner, Matteo Dundro, 2-0 MTK champion.
Yeah.
And he's not easily impressed either, but our interactions with this individual really left an impression on us. And I've definitely, after speaking with him and speaking with the individual in question, their martial arts philosophies, etc., like that, and they're very experienced too. They've
had. You can't tell me a name.
I can't tell you a name just yet, because I feel like
Ben wants to know a name as well.
they fought in the UFC a bunch.
Okay, is it Gus?
Pardon? Gustafson's focused on his own career. He's not coaching anybody right now. It's somebody that I don't think a lot of people will think of. But again, I just want to focus on my development with that. I just have to focus on the skill acquisition. I won a decision on Saturday, and it was a great learning experience. But there were little opportunities for me. I landed a head kick, but I only landed with the lower part of my shin. I got to the back from a sweep, but I didn't finish the choke. Little things like that will put these guys away and put them away in style. That's what it's about ultimately, you know. I've missed out on a few opportunities like that, and keeps me up at night a little bit, you know. It makes me want to get into the gym and work even harder and try to so yeah, it's something I'm going to definitely focus on rather than the promotional stuff, you know. That's all social media riffraff that is just, it's not really with it, you know.
But hearing you talk like that, that's why I disagree with the phrase win or learn, because to me, people who are going to go on to become champions, even when they win, they're critiquing their performance, and they're not just thinking, God, I'm amazing, I dominated that, which you did, and Chris's comment, a dominant decision, it really was. But you're already thinking what you did wrong in that fight and how you could improve it and how you could have got the finish.
It's all I've been thinking about. all I've been
Try and enjoy it as well.
No, I've been enjoying the city of Stockholm. It's a really beautiful place, but you know, I'm aware that the most immediate way for me to get to where I want to be in terms of finance, platform, career progression is to have the skills. This is not a game. This is not, I'll say this in every interview if you let me talk for long enough. This is not a game where you can delude yourself or delude others for too long. You and I know this, and you're going to see it, and I'm not going to name names, but there's people who kind of walk into contracts with organizations that are going to pay a little bit more money than they've expected. I guarantee you that those people will make you earn that money in the long run, okay?
Yeah.
And if you don't have the skills to back it up, that cage is a very brutal place to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to try to do everything in my power to ensure that that's not going to happen to me. So skill development, progress, and improvement, that's all I'm really thinking about.
I believe you as well, 100%. So you don't know what promotion is next for you. Is there anyone opponent-wise that you'd be interested in matching up with?
Well, up until last night, I had somebody in mind, but then I spoke to people closer to the situation, and the answer is no. The answer is no. I want to compete, and I want to compete again soon.
What's the reason you've changed your mind about that person?
They're injured.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna, if I know somebody's at home with an injury, the last thing I'm gonna do is take away their energy mentally while they're trying to recuperate. You know, that's not my character, you know. So I'm not gonna do that. So
you're leaving me with more questions than answers here.
you wouldn't know the name anyways. It was just somebody that had previous success on a Brave card, and I was just looking to kind of cement my way on a future Brave show. But
okay,
I was thinking about it last night. Like I was just like, man, you know what, man? Wherever I've got to fight, I've got to fight. It's the performance at the end of the day. You know, platforms are great, but if you get addicted to that platform, it's gonna catch you one day, and you're gonna end up getting into something that you shouldn't have been getting yourself into.
You're very grounded. I think that's a very sensible approach.
Grounded, but I also know that this is a business first and foremost.
Yeah.
These promoters will act like they're giving you these big opportunities, but at the end of the day, if their turnover isn't in the green, they're not gonna be particularly on your side. So, you know, I'm very, very aware, especially as somebody that has had 13 MMA fights pretty much with no attention. And I've also seen how that's like stifled me in specific opportunities. I'm very aware that this is a business, and you know, I'm just kind of, I'm not going to let these guys play me for a sucker and act like they're giving me an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of keeping my eyes and my ears open when it comes to those situations.
And no other opponents in mind?
No one. The focus isn't on them anyway. Just like I said before, in respect to my last opponent, and I actually spoke to him afterwards, and he's a great person, and he's a hell of a fighter, and he really pushed me, etc., like that. But it's not about the opponent. It's about the motions. It's about the flow. It's about what I do in there. If you're doing everything correctly in there, you're going to be able to shut down an opponent. So are they even really that person anymore? They're just the body in there. So that's just kind of the focus, you know.
So we don't know the promotion. We don't know the opponent. When would you like to be back in there? Obviously, the world's still on its head, so we're not sure what shows are going ahead. And as you said, it's a business, and not everybody's able to finance what people should be paid in normal times, let alone in these times where they're not able to sell tickets.
Well, you know, first and foremost, shout out to all the UK fighters that are also pining for these opportunities right now.
Yeah.
Like, I hope, like, all my brothers and sisters in the game, like, sometimes we're in opposite ends of the brackets or we're in the same divisions, but I really hope that all the fighters that are currently trying to get a fight right now and try to get on that career progression to get to where they want to be can get an opportunity. But for me, I would like to fight again. We're in August now. August. So I'd like to fight again in 10 weeks. I don't cut a lot of weight, so I'm ready, but I would like the opportunity to train with this coach. I'd also like to get back with my coaches in the UK, Ed Ingemels, who's done a full breakdown of the mistakes I've made in the fight. I need to refine those systems. I don't want to just go in there and be the same fighter, because I think it's no secret that people know, based on my fighting history, what I'm generally inclined towards doing. And that's not going to be the same me for that much longer. You give me 10 weeks, it's a lot of hours for me to refine and add new weapons and develop new understandings. And I want to be a whole different fighter every time I'm there, which is all geared towards the finish and putting these guys away definitively. I feel like I could do a bunch of cardio, do a bunch of wrestling, stay really tight on top, really strong. And I think I could get my way through another few fights like that, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I want to do stuff to these guys that makes people realize that I'm in this for real and I'm somebody worth watching. And if I'm not able to do that, then so be it. But I want adequate time. I want adequate time to be able to work on that, you know.
How old are you, PK?
28.
You're wise, way beyond your years.
I don't agree with that. I think if I'm saying anything that's defined as wise, it's only because I've got good coaches around me and I've got good people around me. You
have to be like a sponge, though, because some people have got those people there and don't take it in, you know. Ben Linehan says he wants to listen to you speak every day now. He's decided.
I don't want to listen to me speak every day. But I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm just, it's exciting times, though. It's nice. It was a cool platform. It was nice. It was a good...
He said you're like the human Rafiki from Lion King.
I think he set his standards really low. Yeah.
You are very wise. I really enjoy listening to you talk about this stuff as well. It's one thing to know that it's true, but it's another to, you know, like really implement that into your career, especially when I'm sure that, you know, you're desperate to achieve these things yesterday, but all you talk about is your development. It's
because everything else is just an illusion, right? The whole social media, Instagram followers, it's all just a bunch of fake nonsense that people are going to try to add to the game to try to, you know, it's all a negotiation, isn't it? Yeah. It's all a negotiation process. What's true in there is the actual fight. and it's a very serious game in there. So that's what I'm just focused on: self-preservation and success. So that's all I'm really thinking about right now, is just getting back to work and getting that progression in.
Chris Emmanuel says Mohammed's Shaheed.
I think he's tagging someone to do with Brave.
Okay.
I think he's tagging someone to do with Brave. All right, what's the next question?
there's no more questions.
Okay.
So 10 weeks time takes us to November, I guess, beginning of November, end of October.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I'm just looking to decompress.
Did he tag someone?
Yeah, if the opportunity to fight does come, I'm willing to take it. I'm ready, but I'm not just gonna fight for the sake of it. This is a serious game, and I'm not just gonna try to artificially build on my record to impress people. I think that a 6-0 record with, so I've got 2 unanimous decision wins and a submission. And a 6-0 record with like 4 unanimous decision wins gets you somewhat respected. A 6-0 with like a 3 finishing streak gets you feared, and it gets you noticed, and it gets you closer to the platforms that you dream about. So if that means having to put in an extra month of work in the gym to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do that. So if anybody's out there watching, trying to game plan for me, I'm not going to be the same fighter you saw on Saturday. Just like the guy that was on Saturday wasn't the same fighter that you saw on 5-star in December. I'm always going to be working, and I'm always going to be improving. And I'm going to make sure that even if I get back to a specific show, even if it's in the UK, against certain gyms that think they might have me figured out because, Southpaw that can wrestle, let it be known that I'm not going to be that fighter in 10 weeks' time. Yeah.
I believe every word you say as well. I know how seriously you're taking it.
I've got serious people around me too. My jiu-jitsu coach, Ed Ingemels, he's going to put guys like me, Modestas Bukauskas, who's in the UFC.
Love Modestas.
Modestas is a good person. He's a good human being that deserves all of his success. I've got guys like Ed who have already done giant write-ups on every mistake I've made. Again, I always mention him because he hasn't got any media attention yet, but people will know who he is. His name is Teo Dunjo.
I want to get Teo. Tell Teo I want to interview him next. I can't believe I haven't interviewed him before.
I will tell him right now. Me and him were in I do like a vlog on my camcorder for every fight that I do now as part of the whole media thing. And you could see after the fight immediately, we're not celebrating. We're going straight into critiquing. We're going straight into the review. No, but I've won most of my fights. So what's the point about celebrating another one, right? I don't mean that to be cocky. I literally mean, like, I've been there. I've won, I've lost. I've had referees make mistakes. I've had I've had all these results, okay? The one doesn't mean more than the other. It's just a case of the people I'm around, and especially this other coach that I've intrigued to work with. They're not letting anything slip. It's not about it is always about the win or the loss, but the difference between fighting for 400 pounds in Spennymoor Leisure Centre and 400,000 in Wembley Arena is ultimately going to be in the cage. You can talk one and you can bring all the show around, but it's all about that skill development and the performances.
Facts. Well, you need to come back on. You've got an open invitation anytime, but I want to come back on and hear when the next fight is.
Absolutely.
Who the opponent is, and you need to tell me who this gym is in Sweden and who you're going to be training with.
Yeah, I've got a vlog that I do before that chronicles all my fights.
Tell people where to find it.
It's on my YouTube channel, PK Zadeh. No space between PK and Zadeh. I think I've got like 2 earlier vlogs that I did from my amateur days that are just more spliced together video clips. I did one for my last 2 fights, and I've got a really interesting amount of footage coming for this one. Very cool footage from the flight to being able to touch down straight away into Stockholm airport, to being able to do a workout straight away from coming down into the plane into the cage that we were fighting in. We managed to somehow sneak in and do it. And it chronicles all the walk to the event place on fight day, etc., like that. So it's going to be a cool insight into things, and I'm going to do one straight after that, chronicling some of the training that I'll be going through, and then I'll do a separate one for fights. So trying to give people a more honest insight into what I'm doing as a fighter. The wins, the losses, the whole story is going to be put out there.
Oh, amazing. So that's on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And people can find it all there. So the one from Brave isn't uploaded yet? Or
no, we've probably just I didn't bring my laptop with me, so I've still got to do the editing. And once I do that, I'm going to probably release it up within the next week. I'll send it around on the various social platforms and put it up. And that's it pretty much. Just I'll actually quickly just take this opportunity to just give a thanks to the training partners that actually helped me through this once, because it was a very crazy time, Just first and foremost, I want to thank 2 amateur fighters that I coach, Oscar Ferry-Dooney and Ben Felton. Oscar's only 1-on-1, but we haven't had a full fight camp together, but we've been training together for a year. Ben hasn't had a fight yet, but they really pull their weight during camp. Obviously, I've got a lot more experience than them, etc., like that. But they showed up every day that they were needed. I trained. They put in the rounds. They came in at the time that I asked them to. Now I've just got to start with names. I've got to add some more names to it. Of course, like always, my best friend, my brother, Taylor Dunjo. Can I put you on camera? No, he's shirtless. My good friend Dan Ho, who I trained a lot of jiu-jitsu with during this time. He also filmed the vlog. Wali Abdullah getting ready for the ADCC trials. Let's see if I've got any other names. Fabrizio Callio, of course, the other cornerman. He was a great help during this time. Who else? Thomas Magnetis. He's an amateur fighter, fights on 5-star. He won his last fight, jiu-jitsu brown belt. Ross Nichols, ADCC. Corey Tate. Ross Nichols, ADCC 2019 qualifier. Dino Buselet, IBJJF brown belt European champion. JT Wash, I believe, brown belt champion as well. I really want to thank those guys because they really helped me get ready for this. They showed me different techniques and all that. And it turned from a 3-week camp for me just having to try to get fit and try to put on a performance to a fight camp where I was able to really grow and improve. If I've forgotten anybody, which knowing me, I'm sure I have, I'm sorry. I really do appreciate you. And if I haven't mentioned you, apologies, and I will shout you out another time.
Sponsors?
I have no sponsors, but I'll actually take this opportunity to thank Chris Emmanuel as well for getting me the fight, helping me with the logistics of booking everything, and
He actually says the sky isn't even the limit for this guy.
He's on my side though. Yeah. It's a biased opinion.
We're all on your side.
I appreciate it. Oh, there you go then. That's nice to know. But yeah, Chris Emmanuel, and I'm sure I've forgotten some people, but yeah.
Is this someone else on your side?
Yeah, this is one of my closest friends.
Them one by one. Congratulations, my brother.
One of my closest friends, man. What's up, Gabe? Hope you're good. So yeah, it's good.
If you forget anyone, comment it in under the interview.
I'll just be tagging like 600 names. You know what I mean? Hey, remember that time we gave you a lift of training last year? Tag them.
Well, congratulations again.
I appreciate that.
It was a superb performance, to hear you talk and how critical you are of it. I encourage anyone who hasn't seen it to go and watch it, because it really was a very, very dominant performance all 3 rounds. And I love how you're criticizing yourself for not getting the finish or little mistakes that you made. I think that's the sign of a champion, someone who wants to grow from every performance. So you're welcome back anytime. I'd love to talk to you about the next one. And tell Teo he's on my list as well. I want to speak to him soon as well.
Teo Dinjo. I cannot repeat that enough. He is going to be one of the best welterweights in the world. I guarantee it. He is a prospect and he is a danger for a lot of people. And again, if people are, they compliment my approach to the game, Teo has exactly that approach. We bounce off each other. He's a brilliant mind. And having his presence there for Brave was, we're both learning on the job, Katie, because nobody handed us shit. For me to get on Brave, I had to, I had to get, 10 months ago, I had to have a promoter of a show that I probably mentioned earlier on in the interview tell me I wasn't serious because I didn't do social media. And then I was thinking to myself, hey, well, if you knew a little bit about my amateur career, me having to show up and take fights on a few days' notice, getting laughed at backstage because it was just me and Teo, then you would start to know. And it's a long way from spending more leisure center, but I'll go back there in a heartbeat if I'm having to get my fights and get my improvement in. So, guys like me and Teo, we're in this blind, but we're just going in with heart and belief and hard work. When we were backstage at Brave, people were looking at us a little bit sideways at first because you have these gyms like Pancrase, Sweden, All Stars, all fantastic gyms all around Europe, and then it's just me and Teo, But they don't realize that it's been me and him from the start.
Yeah.
And okay, one loss as an amateur, but Teo was on holiday for that. But every time that every time that me and Teo have shown up, because Teo's undefeated in his career, every time that me and Teo have shown up, we've got them wins. So again, nobody's ever handed us shit. We've had to go out there and fight for it every time. Middle of nowhere, Norwich. First fight of the night, 20 in the arena. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So if I got onto a platform like Brave, and I was very fortunate to, it's not because I'm some amazing fighter or this, and the other. It's just because I put my hand up. That's all. And that's all I'm ever trying to do in this game. I'm not trying to say I'm the best or whatever. I'm just asking for my opportunity, and I'll go out there and I'll work and I'll go out there and get it. So yeah, that is that.
Chris said Teo's a future star, a huge talent too. Was he not, does my memory serve me correctly, was he supposed to fight Ian Gary at Night of Champions and he got injured on fight week? Or
He didn't get injured because Teo's not that irresponsible. Unfortunately, there was some misinformation with medicals. That ended up getting cleared up. I mean, Ian Gary is doing fantastic in his career now.
I'd love to see that fight in the future.
Teo is gonna fight at the highest level, so if those guys are gonna be there, they'll meet. But I'm not gonna try to talk my friend up and say my friend can beat that guy, because that's disrespectful to the individual that you just named. I'm sure he's a brilliant fighter and he's on his own journey. We're not watching names, we're watching our own performances. So
very wise, again, very wise.
And he's just like that too, man. So yeah.
Scott Askham saying hi to me. I'm sure he's saying hi to you as well. Thank you so much, PK. It's been awesome having you on.
Thank you for the platform.
I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased for the way it went, and you've got a winning attitude. The way that you want to focus on what you perceive to be the errors in that performance. But for us watching, it looked outstanding, and I wish you all the best with your training and your new coach. And I can't wait to speak to you soon.
Thank you. Can't wait to speak to you soon, and I'll be a new and improved PK by then. And hopefully I'm gonna put on a performance that demonstrates, that the isolation, the intensity, all the hard work that has come with that training cycle.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much,
Take care,
Katie.
PK.
Have a lovely day.